Hello, everyone. We're back here on our channel, and we just want to tell you I'm still here in Greece. You're probably tired of hearing that, and Susan is in Sedona. But I really figure out today that I don't know where to start from because there's so much that's going on. And Susan said, "You go first," and I'm like, "Okay," but I don't know if you're feeling that in your life, but everything is coming into a head in a sense. That's the best way I can explain it. It's for me, that's what it's been feeling, that everything, not just in my surroundings, but also in the world and what I see outside, everything's coming to a head, and people are kind of like one step going forward, and then they're stuck in the other leg. Like one leg is forward, but the other one is kind of stuck. So it's kind of like a little bit of a confusion where everybody's going, what are we doing, feeling a little bit bored at the same time, feeling the chaos inside of us also. And I think for me it's like, wow, it's a big wall that I don't know how to put this energy together yet. Maybe as I'm talking to Susan down the line, things will come down, like as information just comes in as we're speaking sometimes, because that's what we do. So I'm going to pass you on to Susan and see what she says about that.
Of course, you're going to pass it on to me. Well, but I don't even know where to begin either because there's so much. Some of it is, and you alluded to that, some of it is having one foot in one world and one reality and one foot in another one. And so that's always a challenge when you're trying to walk in different worlds at the same time. Also, there's this crackling energy that's going on. For me personally, I had a dream where my circuit board was reprogrammed with new coding. I also had someone else who just had a dream about lightning coming through. So something big is happening, although the weather and the energy of nature feels beautiful right now. So if we can tap into the energy of nature and find some kind of solace in that as this crackling new circuitry is trying to integrate within our human frame, that's my best suggestion for the week.
I get it. I understand what you're talking about, but also what I'm seeing being here in Greece, because it's not like a community like in Sedona that we all like a really close community. Here, everything is spread. The energy is spread so far wide through Greece. For the past a week, I've been doing this intense thing. Like last week, I was doing the thing of Homer, and 2 days ago, the day that I came back, actually that evening, I went to another lecture, which we're talking about Homer again, and it was very interesting to see. And actually, they talked about Plato, and I went to something this morning that it was doctors talking about our DNA, and also about Plato and our different, philosophers. But what it seems to me here, this crackling is happening to everyone because it's time for everyone to understand what is actually happening.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
the way I see it. And in Greece is such a different way of living because everybody lives like the old way in a sense, and not everybody's spiritual. But when they start talking in those lectures, you can feel that there's a big movement is happening. That's the best way I can explain it. But again, it comes from the scientific fields. They haven't put the spiritual field together yet. But just because it's coming from the scientific field, like a doctor or a professor from the university, there's something is going on. Like those people are getting shaken up, you know? That's the best way I can explain it.
Yeah, well, I like that whole thing about lightning because lightning would come down, it would crack, it would allow fissures in the earth to release its ancient knowledge, its ancient wisdom. And so, how fitting that Plato is being brought up in Greece and Homer is being brought up in Greece because these are old stories, but yet have tremendous value within them. And as we explore the ancient wisdoms, it's like, what were they trying to tell us? What is this story really all about? What did Plato have to say, who has stood the test of time?
Yeah.
Both of these stood the test of time, that have not become irrelevant, have not faded into, you know, the past. And so it is, what nuggets of information are there to be explored right now. And I once again, our circuit boards are being realigned, and then that has to do with DNA, however you want to talk about it, is
Yeah.
like there's new information, there's a new opening. Why has certain bits of our DNA been closed off to us? And how do we open up that DNA so we can be all that we are? So I think some of that is what's going on.
And actually, what the doctors also talked about today is how our DNA is being manipulated through our food that we're eating, and through the what they're spraying in the air and what they're doing. So it's kind of interesting to see. I don't expect that from the Greeks. It's kind of funny because they're
Mm.
so they really try to be like everybody else. But they do go back to our back history, which is amazing to me to
Yeah.
see that is happening.
Yeah.
So
Well, that holds the information for us. It's like
yeah.
passed down. It gets a little bit watered down and a little reinterpreted, but that's why it's like, oh, this is coming. We want to tell you about it the best way we can, which is why they have the Hopi prophecies on the petroglyphs and all of that information. But yeah, the DNA has been closed off to us for much longer than our food, etc. It's been closed off for as long as we can remember, as long as
Yeah.
our history talks about it, unless you go way back into Sumerian times and you look at it there. So yeah, why is that? And when they used to talk about 98% or whatever percentage it was junk DNA, what?
And the
So that
truth
doesn't
is,
make
it doesn't, because the truth is, it's not junk DNA. It's actually pure
right.
DNA that don't want us to really tap into. And that's part of the crackling that I'm feeling it's happening here.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Because as being a Greek, that the stories, all those stories are inside me. I grew up with them, but they're also in my DNA.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, what gifts are in our DNA, and why has it been closed off to it? Where is the key that opens up the DNA that allows our divineness to come through? Why? Who has control of the key? And why did it lock up all our DNA so that we, in a sense, become slaves to the world that we live in?
Well,
That's a very profound question.
it is, but in a sense, this is what they were talking about today in the lecture that I was this morning. And I don't know why we're coming into this. I wasn't even thinking that I was going to talk about this, but that's what they were saying. They're saying that slowly it's kind of, he was actually saying something about cancer. Okay. So they said if his little bit at a time comes down to humanity, a little bit of the chemicals, all just a little bit at a time comes down, then we get sick. But if it's just one big thing comes down, we're just gonna act like, oh, our foot got just burned, and we're stepping out of it. But little bit, at a time, actually that little bit makes us used to it, and we actually go to sleep, so we don't really feel anything.
Right, right. So it sneaks up on us, and then it's there before we realize it. Versus if it came in with a bang, we would certainly notice it a lot more. Yeah. So
So that's the lockup that I'm talking about.
yeah, so much going on in the world. You can look any. We've said this before. At least I've said this before. You can look in any arena and see that it's being shaken up.
Yeah. Yes.
And so it is. It's almost the revolt of the human species. It's like, no, this is not how we choose to live anymore. This is not the world we want. And you know, we're not the reality. So when we're walking with one foot in one world and one foot in the other world, and the one foot feels really lovely because we're in this amazing bliss magical place.
Exactly.
Yeah, so how do we get the other foot to get back over with the good side of the being and walk fully in that place? But it is a bridge, a straddling that we have to do at this point.
Yeah. So that's, I think that's what, how it feels this week. I think we really put it into really great wording because, and I get it now because I was in the same place as you were. Whoa, what is happening? What is
Yeah,
going on? I couldn't really put words to it. And, maybe that's why I stayed here all this time to really reawaken that energy that everybody, talks about in Greece and see like, doctors in their 60s done
mm,
this research and talking about those things. So
yeah.
I kind of see that the whole world is really is waking up. That's what is.
It is waking up. It absolutely is waking up. But in that, I'm encouraging everyone once again to stay out of the fear of it
Yes, yes,
because your world may not look like it used to. Lots of relationships are falling apart. Lots of friends are leaving your world. It's just because your resonance is not the same. And so bless them for being in your life, but allow them to leave so that newer vibration can enter your world.
and also not to tap into the fear that is on TV, not that the fear that we hear around us too, because that's even more intense. That is slowly putting fear in us, and we cannot get away from, bringing our pure DNA out. That's another feeling that I have because our divine DNA does not need fear. It
Right,
needs to get
right.
away from fear to really
Well,
open up.
that is the challenge, is rising above the fear, not buying into other people's belief systems. That is the challenge. That is the challenge
Exactly.
because that's the vast majority of what's going on with people right now is they're all fear. They're all glued to their TV sets because of what's going on. So yeah, write it.
I guess
Right.
I guess we're going to be talking. Have talked a lot about fear, but it's keep coming up for us to let you guys know because I think we have up to December. This is what it feels to me. December is going to be a pivot. 2020 is going to be an incredible year that we're not going to be even able to understand. And
Yeah.
we're going towards that. So of course we'll talk more about that. But this week, stay out of fear, and we're thinking continue staying out of fear and really get your divine self and get into your positive place. Your DNA is shifting. We know that, and it's been proven. And the crackling, it's a crackling happening in your life, like Susan said. Just be okay with that separation of losing friends or losing relationships or of really getting to the next level.
Well, it's so beautiful because fall is typically just a beautiful, beautiful time of year. So get out in nature.
Yeah.
You can even hear the crackling when you walk through leaves that have dried up, and you can hear that crackling kind of noise in that. And so nature has no fear when those types of things occur. When a tree loses its leaves, it has no fear. It knows it's just a part of the cycle. So get out in nature, enjoy this beautiful weather because we all know it'll get cold soon enough. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't wait to get back. So to Sedona, and we're finally going to be doing the videos in a better lighting for me because my lighting is always challenging.
Yay, come back. Come back.
I will come back. So thank you everyone for listening to us again. Please join us and subscribe and really let us know if you really feel any questions or if you feel anything you'd like to share. So thank you so much for watching us.
Yeah.
Take care.